Let's just mute somebody here. Here we go. For the live. We don't need to hear from them. Are we live? Is it happening? I think it is. Hey, good morning. It's Sean Shapiro from Toronto Police Traffic Services. This is Ask a Traffic Cop. It's where I get to answer your traffic and police questions for an hour. We do it Monday to Friday from 10 to 11. Of course, today we're doing, this week we're doing it Monday to Thursday because I'm not here tomorrow. But we do it when we can do it, and we like doing it. So let's get into things. Where are we? How do we work? Why is that noise so loud? Ew, that was terrible. Oh, that was the Ask a Traffic Cop alarm saying press go. Yeah, I don't need that anymore. We have a lot of fun in store. Why? Because I've got a dad joke on the docket. We have stuff and things to talk about. We do what we do. So let's start off with how to ask us questions, because there is a process. If you are using TikTok, just use the Q&A functionality. It's awesome. We get to put your question on screen so everyone can see it. Everyone on TikTok can see it. The other platforms can't see nothing. Now, if you're on Instagram, you can ask a question using the same functionality on that platform. If you are on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, actually, let's leave Twitter to the end. YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, or Facebook, use the comments just like Jacob just did, saying good morning, and you will be able to be heard, to be read, to be seen. If you're on Twitter, we cannot actually see your messaging, and I apologize for their lack of functionality. It's their fault entirely. I take no responsibility. But if you are there, you can also choose to join our Volley space. You can go to trafficcop.ca. There's a button on my link tree, which is what trafficcop.ca takes you to. You can click the button that says Ask Me a Question on Volley, and you will go to our Volley. What is Volley? It's a great communication platform. It's free to use. We have a private little space there, and you can send me video, voice, or text. If you send me video, voice, or text, I'll play it on the show, because that's how we roll. All right. Big Jeff Fresh comes in with a morning. What is this? The shot you posted before going live, I'm assuming, is the same photo for the arrow when you say follow point is dislike. To the dislike button? There's a dislike button? On what platform is there a dislike button? Oh, maybe on YouTube. No. That's very funny. So I posted a video this morning. I put up a thing saying, please follow. Well, if you follow the profile suggestion for where to put that arrow, and you put it towards the follow button, it actually puts it in between the like and the follow button. So I've been edging it up, and now on YouTube. So it's the dislike button on YouTube on Shorts, but it's the like and follow button on, well, TikTok's the only thing that matters on this planet, so we're okay. That's very funny, though. Thanks for giving me the feedback. You never know. So I'm actually asking people to dislike us on YouTube. Oh, well, we'll see what happens. Let's do some housekeeping before we jump into your questions, and that is giving you the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, telling you where Vision Zero Enforcement Team is. They are those dedicated officers who are around the city trying to change driver behavior one ticket at a time. They do it by focusing their efforts looking for people who speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, or drive impaired. If you drive that way, well, stop it, because that's not cool. It's not good. It's not smart. It's not anything. You're just being someone who contributes to making our roads unsafe, and it's our goal every single day to make the roads safer for everybody to live, work, and play in our city. It's what we do. We want people to go home to the people they love and the people who love them, and if it's just the dog who loves them, well, so be it. But they need to go home, and they don't need to die on the road. We've had already a couple of fatalities. Last year we had a whole bunch of fatalities, and I'm tired of seeing fatalities. I want people to be safe. And you can contribute to that by just driving lawfully and safely. All right. Where are they today? Today they are in 52 Division and 41 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Kensington, Chinatown, Bay Street Corridor, Dorset Park, Kennedy Park, Birchcliff, and Cliffside. Those are not all of the neighborhoods, but those are some of the neighborhoods. And this is not to say that they're only in those neighborhoods. Those are just the ones that I recognize and that are most recognizable to me. If you live in one of those divisions, if that's a community that I've not mentioned but you think should be noted, well, send us a tweet, send us a message, so we'll include you in the hashtags next time we tweet it out. We do tweet this out every morning. We also put it on Instagram. We also put it on the Facebook. Do you use the Facebook? Who uses Facebook here? I have all the platforms. I don't use all the platforms. I'm not actively there. TikTok's where I spend most of my time, obviously. I consume a lot of content on YouTube. I like YouTube. I learn stuff there. But I'm curious. What is, actually, maybe we do a poll. Maybe we'll do a poll later. I'm curious to know, or just throw it into the chat. I'd love to know which platform you think is the best platform. All right, going on to questions being asked by you. What's the fastest you've chased someone? I don't know the fastest I've gone while trying to catch up to someone who is speeding, but it's been fast. The goal is not to chase people. The goal is to make sure we do things that are safe. And chasing really gets into that whole concept of, Dukes of Hazzard and the movies, and that kind of stuff doesn't happen. We phone friends, we close roads, we meet you at your house to arrest you later. But I don't actually know any speed as the top. We had a member of our sea platoon who recently stopped someone, in a controlled environment, 174 kilometers an hour in a 100 zone, unacceptable speed. Stunt driving takes your car away. And that's only the start of the story, but we'll get into more of that later. Can people use middle lane? What is this? Can people use middle shared turning lane to merge? So you're making a left turn onto a street and it's got a center lane, a multi-use lane. Can you go there first before getting? Yeah, that's a safe way to go. You turn into that lane and then you wait until you can get in. That absolutely works. We've got Justin Lewis. If you do a burnout on your own private property, can you get fined? Yeah. Burnouts on private property are stunt driving. Stunt driving gets you a 14-day impound of your vehicle, a 30-day suspension on your license, not to mention all the subsequent consequences when you actually get to court. It's a 1 to 3 year suspension. It's a $2,000 to $10,000 fine, and it happens on your private property, even if it's your private property. It doesn't have to be Farmer Fred's field. It doesn't have to be the mall down the street. Your private property counts. Now, are we hanging out in your lawn, in the bushes, waiting for you to do something stupid? No, we don't. But if there's complaints that you're doing this and we start, hanging out because someone's complained, then yeah, it is something that could happen. Let's jump into I'm trying to do my that sounds like Dr. Huxtable a little bit to me, maybe not to you, but to me. Can I drive on international driver's license in Ontario for 1 year? It depends. See, if you're a visitor and you are not a resident, you're visiting. You're not a student. You don't live here. You don't have a residential address here. You're in a hotel, let's say. You're truly a visitor. Then you can, with a foreign license and an international driver's license, or more specifically a permit, which is really just a translation card, you can be here up to a year. Without an IDL or an IDP, 3 months is the maximum you can drive. And if you are a resident here, the moment you become a resident here, you have an intention to stay. You, as a resident, that goes down to 60 days. Good morning, sir. Goes down to 60 days, and you must apply for an Ontario driver's license to keep driving. So if you're a foreign student, you're here for the school year, you're a resident, you have to apply for an Ontario driver's license. If you brought a car from another province, you have 30 days to register that car in Ontario. You have 60 days to change your license to Ontario. And people say, well, I'm going back home. I mean, that's fine. When you go back home, you can change it back. But while you're here, you're obligated to do that, and you can be charged under the Highway Traffic Act for not doing it. Thank you for the question. Good morning, Richard. And I see Hani has a question. Good morning. Intersection at Bathurst and Eglinton. Construction shine. It's a sign. I can't read. Shows no left turn, but the traffic light gives you advanced green left-hand turn. Which one is the correct one to comply with? The light should have been bagged, but the light does not take over. If it says no left turn for the construction sign, that is the regulatory sign, giving you an advanced green when no turn is permitted. That doesn't count. If turns were available, and someone should call 311. Maybe I'll call afterwards. But 311. Let me take a snapshot of this so I don't forget. I'm taking actually, I've got screen. No, I'm not going to mess with technology today. I'm taking a picture of a screen instead of doing something like take a screen grab, because who knows. The computer gods have not been kind. Oh, look at this. I turned on the microphone. Hang on a second, folks, on Instagram, if it sounds terrible. If it's not been sounding high quality, it's because I did not plug the microphone in. It was still setting to a charger card. Please let me know if that sounds better. You should now be getting the feed from the mixing board. Tell you, today I should have stayed home. I didn't want to get out of bed. I should have stayed in bed. Okay. So yeah, 311 for the win. Tell them that they didn't bag the thing, but it could be a temporary, very short-term project that they're working on. In any case, we'll look into that. And again, the sign is what is the priority, not the. You can't have a light that supersedes a sign. What is this? How do I deal with a continuous tailgater? Hold your course. If someone is riding the back bumper of your car, don't make any quick moves. Don't get bullied into going faster because that's not safe and it's not legal if you're at the speed limit. Stay at the speed limit. If they're going to pass you, they're going to pass you. Just be cautious because that person is a bad driver and possibly a bad person. But don't. Some people have this desire to hit the brakes. That would be creating a collision situation. You could be charged for careless, if not dangerous driving, which is criminal. So don't hit the brakes. Don't brake check them. You could slow down, to give them the hint that they're too close. Slowing down tends to give them that opportunity to pass you sometimes too. Really depends on the situation. But someone who is a continuous tailgater, like they meet you every Monday at 5 a.m., maybe leave 10 minutes later, you'll miss them altogether. Why is a loud car such a big problem? Well, thank you for bringing this up. And that's my loud car sound. The deal is that your loud car annoys people. You are the only person who likes your loud car. Maybe you have some friends that have similar tastes and they like your loud car too. But the overwhelming majority of humans who pay bills and want to actually enjoy the communities that they live in, or they sleep nights, or they have babies and children, nobody wants to hear your noise. That's why it's a big problem. It's one of the number one complaints that the City of Toronto receives from its residents. So don't do it. Don't modify your car to be obnoxious. Okay. What do we got here? Can I drive on a highway with a G2 without a G driver? If you read your book, the handheld, the driver's handbook, it explains what you can and cannot do with each class of license. There are no driving restrictions in terms of highways for a G2. Once you graduate from G1 to G2, you can drive on any road in any province. In fact, you can drive in the United States as well. You just have to follow your conditions. That's a zero blood alcohol content. You cannot have alcohol in your system or drugs. You cannot drive with passengers under the age, well, there's a limitation of how many passengers, under the age of 21, under the age of 20, between the hours of midnight and 5 a.m., where most people are sleeping anyway. But that's, I think, to prevent you becoming the DD and running around to all sorts of nightclubs and taking lots of people and getting into trouble. But if you have family, immediate family, they're exempt from that condition. And if you are talking about how many people, between the first 6 months of being a G2, you can have one person under the age of 20, between 12 and 5, and after the second 6 months, right to the 12-month mark, you can have 3 under the age of 20, and then the restrictions lifted. By the way, for many people, they think that once they get their G, they can drink. Did you know that you cannot drink when you have a G unless you are over the age of 21? That means 22 and up. And you still can't drink to an illegal amount. You have to maintain a blood alcohol content under 0.05, which, although that's a number that sounds low to some people, that's not a lot of drinks, and you should not be drinking with any drugs or alcohol because any amount of alcohol could result in something called impairment. Yeah. Don't do it. You're better off to make alternate arrangements, even if you're only having a couple, because people are generally really, really poor judges of what is too much alcohol, which is why so many people drive home. They think, yeah, okay, you can make it. I'll be fine. Yeah, that's my drunk impersonation. Give me the keys. Who knows what movie that reference is from? Give me the keys. Said by one male sitting in the back seat of a convertible. I think it was a convertible. Who knows the reference? Let me know in the messages. One of my favorite movies as a kid. Give this man his keys. Let's see here. Oh, I now have my other phone listed. It's very weird to see that although it's not, video is not loading. Why is it not loading? Let's try it again. All right. I appreciate the request to join me live, but we are not having guests on this show. At least not time. We've done it in the past, but we are not doing it today. Why does it say live paused? That is so weird. Can you see me? Because my own phone can't see me from my other platform. That's really weird. It says it's paused. Anyway, I do not want to focus on this. Let's get back to your questions. All right. Q&A. Let's see what's going on. Oh, can you drive only on Ontario highways with G2? No, you can drive on any, like I was just saying, you can drive on any highway. You can drive anywhere. You can drive anywhere, man. You can drive. Oh, there's the video popped up. I got a red light camera ticket on security car. Well, what did you run a red light? What were you doing? Many people have been getting red light camera tickets when they make right turns on reds. Did you know that when you make a right turn on red, you are legally obligated to stop. You have to stop. Red light means stop, even if you're turning right. And many people don't realize this. I don't understand how many people get their licenses not realizing this, but regardless, people are very often making right turns on reds without stopping. You have to come to a complete stop. You can only proceed when it's safe to do so. So if that is not you, change your ways. But yes, if you got a ticket, you should pay it because you broke the rules. What's your favorite police car to use? My favorite police car to use is actually a motorcycle. My favorite thing to ride on duty is the Harley-Davidson Police Ultra Glide. Is it an Ultra Glide technically? FL initials and things. It's a police motorcycle with a batwing fairing. I was a motor squad member. That is still my favorite thing to operate. But second to that, the Crown Vic, which is no longer an option, was, I got to say, my favorite because it had bench seats. I didn't have my knees sitting against a center console. Mind you, I have had the opportunity to drive an F-150 that was a marked vehicle, and that would be my favorite currently available product. Now the only thing we really have is a Ford Explorer, and I'll take it because they give it to me. Can you get fined if you go too fast in construction? So the big question is, are there regulated signs reducing the speed, and do you have to follow those things? Those speed limit signs that are not white are not regulated. They're not enforceable. But is it dangerous to go? Are you putting lives at risk when you do it? There's other ways of charging you. So yeah, you could get charged. Maybe not for speeding, but you could still get charged. If it's a white sign, it's regulated. If it's a orange or yellow sign, those are construction. They're notices. They're telling you to slow down for a good reason, but they're not regulated. Okay. Can I take calls on my watch while driving? So you pull out your Apple Watch and you start messing around with the screen. You're still using a communication device, a handheld communication device, and you can still be charged. When the laws first came into effect, many people were being charged. And the argument was, well, I'm not holding it. It's attached to my wrist. It is a device capable of sending and receiving information. It meets the criteria for a handheld communication device. Listen, if your phone is mounted to the dash, it's still a handheld communication device. So you are looking at a $615 ticket, 3-day suspension for your first offense, and the lovely rate increase on your insurance. Not paying private company parking tickets, is it legal? It's a private thing. So if you don't pay and they take you to court to sue you for the monies owed, then that's between you and them. It's not something that the police are going to intervene with. It's the courts when, or if they go after your credit score. Things you may not want to do. Now, let's see here. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I work at Traffic Services. It's Traffic Services, a citywide unit for the City of Toronto, and we respond to calls for service in the form of collision investigations, Highway Traffic Act enforcement. We have specialty units like the Motor Squad that also does dignitary escorts. We do lots and lots of cool stuff. And I bring this up to you because you may not know who we are, but if you follow us, you'll stay in touch. You'll see us more. So on whatever platform you're watching, please follow us. Please like what you're seeing, and please share it with your friends because we want to tell more people about the good stuff. We're here as a resource for you. This show is really just an opportunity for us to answer your questions. It's a way to hang out with us and spend time. Okay. Let's see here. Going through a question that has been asked. Okay. I see Jake here, he's a regular, and I see the Mac Express has a question. Let's deal with the Mac first because that's a new viewer that I've not seen the name of first. So let's give you some priority. So the question is, can you guide us through the step-by-step of approaching, going through, and exiting a roundabout? It was mentioned yesterday by Jerry Agar, but I missed it somewhere. I don't know if we talked about it on the Jerry Agar show, but maybe it came up afterwards. If you are approaching a roundabout, you are not required to signal the entry. It's the flow of the road. You're just going in. If it's a multi-lane roundabout, you have to signal your movements within the roundabout. And if you are exiting a roundabout, you have to signal your intention to exit. This is the deal. You always have to signal your intention to turn, and when you exit, you are turning, is the simplest way of putting it. So in, you're following the road. There's no other place to go. Out, or within, you are changing the direction of your vehicle or changing lanes, you are obligated to signal and can be charged. And roundabouts, which are considered the safest way to play, I do like them, but nobody knows how to use them. I do not see signals being used. People are not aware, and that's not an excuse. They make it less safe because of it. So please pass it along. Signal when using a roundabout. Signal out. Signal out a roundabout. What is this? 13 hours ago, the Vision Zero enforcement team put out a message that said over 2 hours, the same driver was pulled over for speeding by two different Vision Zero enforcement team members in totally different areas of the city of Toronto. Do you think that person has a problem with the pedal? They don't know how to control their foot, maybe doesn't work properly. How do you get two speeding tickets in one night because you didn't learn the first time? That person needs some special attention. John R. from YouTube says, this is a question regarding right turn on red. If I am on a road with the right two lanes turning right lanes, as coming off a highway, am I allowed to turn right after stopping and safe to do so? So this is one of the things that most people don't understand. I didn't understand it when I was a young person prior to becoming a police officer. I thought that only the curb lane could make a right turn on red. That somehow my logic had come up with that answer. I don't think someone told me that. I just think I came up with it on my own. But the truth is, if you have two turning lanes, right turn lanes, and you're at a red light, both of those turning lanes are active and lawful to turn right on red from, as long as you've come to a complete stop, you've ensured that it's safe to complete your turn, and you turn into the appropriate lane. Curb lane to curb lane, next one over to next one over. So I don't know how many lanes we have, so I can't give it a number, but the lane to the left of the curb lane, yeah. Yeah, so very good question. Thanks for asking it. Let's get back into the Q&A. Okay, what do we got here? What is the penalty for driving 180? That's 20 over. You want to know the dollar amount? Let's get the speed calculator here. Speed calculator says 20 over, ding, 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 ding. I need sound effects for this, like a Plinko machine. Okay, in a Schedule 1 zone, Schedule 2 zone. So Schedule 2 is going to be your community safety zones. Regular run-of-the-mill traffic is going to be a Schedule 1. So it's a $95 ticket. The fine itself is $75. There's something called a victim fine surcharge that's applied to your fine, and the fine becomes $95. Now, let's say you are in a community safety zone. Well, fines are doubled, so that would be $150, but with victim fine surcharge, it's $180. There's your question answered. Bingo, bango, done. Let's move on to another one. What happened here? My questions, they're there. Okay. How often do you go out into the field? Well, I am not a field officer. I'm an office officer. I am currently recovering and doing much better, mind you, but I am recovering from a motorcycle collision that occurred a number of years ago. As a result, I'm not on the road, and that sort of created this opportunity to do what I'm doing. And I'm having fun doing what I'm doing. And Sergeant Campbell is approaching. Good day, sir.
Hello, Sean.
Let me give you a microphone. Okay.
Good morning.
Here we go. Now you're live.
Good morning. There we
Good
go.
morning to you. We've been discussing all sorts of stuff and things. Now, should we hold off? How much time do you have? Are you here for the show?
I'm not here for the entire show.
So
no?
maybe we should start with dad jokes because I don't want to. I don't want to miss out on the opportunity where you have to run and then you don't have time for it. So there's the dad joke of yesterday, which I'll recap for anyone who missed it because it was horrible, but I have to see the reaction here. Doctor, I've swallowed a spoon and I need to get it out. All right, just sit down and don't stir. I didn't think that was funny. And he's laughing.
Actually, I do. Yeah. Yeah.
We have a different measure of what is a quality dad joke versus not. That one just didn't work for me. January 12th, Thursday. This is today's joke. Why did the NSA whistleblower spend the whole winter in Russia? He was Snowden. He was snowed in. That's actually a good one. If you haven't seen that, it's a good movie too, by the way, Snowden.
I haven't seen it.
I think it's called Snowden. Anyway, it's about Snowden. Now, I'm not here tomorrow, so I'm going to read tomorrow's.
Oh, where are you tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I've got stuff. I've got to take time to take care of some family stuff.
Oh, well, I'll be here tomorrow.
Should
I just do the
whole
joke
show
tomorrow?
Yeah, we can get you trained.
What do you think? Should I take on a day here?
But the problem is you don't have my phone. My phone
That's
is
right.
It's a problem. We will get this one day. Actually, I've got an experiment. Tomorrow we're going to air the latest episode of TPS Traffic Jam. It's our podcast. It will play at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning in lieu of the show, and that is on the topic of, because I'm interviewing for that show, the speed the City of Toronto's electronic or automated speed enforcement team. So it's going to be some really cool info. understanding the inner workings of how the whole speed measurement, automated speed measurement, and red light camera systems kind of work. I mean, they don't give you the true under the skirts, but they answer a lot of questions, and it is very interesting. I had a lot of fun talking to those guys.
Very cool. I'll be interested to hear it.
I'll send you that link. Let's see here. Okay, that was the January 13th. So tomorrow's joke today. Dad, are you all right? No, I'm half left and half right. That's really... Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to really read it because it just doesn't, you know. Okay.
You know what? Part of being dad, though, means you're old. And when you're old, you have bad memory. I actually saw a dad joke yesterday that I thought, oh, that would be perfect. And I've completely forgotten it.
Well, that's perfect. It's par for the course. This is a regular question for us. Can you go through a red light to make way for an emergency medical vehicle? And the answer is no. You can make a right turn on red when it's safe to do so because there's an allowance under the HTA for that. Emergency medical vehicles, emergency vehicles in general, the drivers of those vehicles are A, they're trained, and B, they're looking far ahead, which is what everyone should be doing when they're driving, and they're making a plan. When they see traffic up ahead and they're going lights and sirens somewhere, they're going to take the path of least resistance, and in most cases that means oncoming traffic. Because why drive up into traffic and honk the horn it's just not efficient. And it's not safe, and there's nowhere they can go. So the answer is don't go anywhere. Assume that they're doing the right thing and they know what they're doing. If I'm in traffic, if I'm right behind you and there's nowhere for me to go, I'm going to wait 30 seconds. Light's going to change, and then I'll activate my lights.
You know what, though? I appreciate where people are coming from. I appreciate the want and the desire to get out of their way.
Absolutely.
So that that emergency vehicle can go help people. Professional responders will not push you into an intersection.
Yeah.
They won't sit behind you and honk their horn, and because they know there's nowhere for you to go. If you can, if it's possible, and if it's safe to make a right turn to get out of the way, then that's the most courteous thing to do.
I agree. Can I honk at a cop? This is a question from Abdullah. He wants to know. What are you honking for? Are you just honking to say hello? Are you honking for help? Are you honking because you don't like them? At the end of the day, honking, if it's for a purpose, is legal. Honking for no reason is unnecessary noise, and you could actually get a charge for that. It's the same charge for if you're playing your stereo too loud or have an exhaust system that's either not meeting the regulations or alternatively, it could also be, what's the word I'm looking for?
If you're operating your vehicle in a manner that is
behavior.
Yeah.
Yes, behavior. Here's a good question. Okay, so what's the first good question? We delete the question that says, can I honk at a cop? We press the next question, which is, how do you guys deal with self-driving Teslas? This is a good question because this is very newsworthy. It's newsworthy because Teslas have recently released a beta piece of software. Actually, they've had the beta software in some jurisdictions for a while, but they've recently opened downtown Toronto up, and it's called Full Self-Drive. It is not autonomous. This does not mean go to sleep. It is not autonomous levels 4 and 5, which allow you to simply have your hands off the wheel. You as the driver or the driver is entirely responsible for everything that vehicle does while it's in full self-drive. Because all that really means it's going to follow some basic directions, and it may or may not do it well. It's just doing it. It does fall within the range of level 2 or level 3, but you are entirely responsible. So these jokers who are going to sleep behind the wheel while they're in full self-drive are eligible for wonderful tickets.
Yeah, not just tickets. I think that could possibly reach the next level
of dangerous
criminal. Now, we do have some level 4 vehicles that are operating in Ontario right now.
And 5, level 4 and 5. So right now there are 2 agencies that are legally allowed to do this because they've applied to the pilot project. One of them actually has vehicles on the road. The other one's on a campus somewhere. I don't remember which university it is, but they have a shuttle that's operating in level 4 or 5. Level 4 means that someone has to be behind the wheel of that vehicle supervising it to jump in case something happens, but they don't have to put their hands on the wheel at any other time. Level 5 is where there's nobody sitting in the driver's seat. They're in the passenger seat or not in the vehicle at all. And that is level 5 autonomy. There is only one vehicle operating in the GTA with that. It's run by Gatik. And that company is working in partnership with Loblaws, and they're doing a very fixed route, sampling, testing this with a small delivery truck. They want to expand the program, my understanding, this year. They may get some more vehicles doing it, but that's one vehicle for all of Ontario that is currently autonomous or in that realm.
You know what, Sean? This is a thing of the future that's coming in. We have to embrace it because it's coming no matter what. But I'm glad they're doing the testing and the amount of testing that they're doing to make it safe. And it's going to take time for our drivers, and especially here in Ontario, to get used to it.
There's a lot to think about. You know, the argument has long been, well, they're doing it in the States. There's taxis that'll pick you up and drop you off, and there's nobody in the front seat at all. I'd never get into one of those because I'm not comfortable with that concept. So don't call me and ask for an endorsement. But also, you know, we have different environments. Most of these things are being tested in LA. You know, with this nice weather all year round. I don't think that these automated vehicles are used to rain or snow, ice, and things that are Canada driving. So it remains to be seen. I look forward to the development, and it is the way of the future. It is going to be one day where all vehicles are autonomous, and we'll probably have safer roads for it. You know, when no one speeds. Could you imagine trying to exceed the speed limit when 90% of the vehicles on the road are autonomous? That would be like playing Tetris.
It would be
trying to fit through, and it would just be incredibly dangerous. So I think everyone would just concede and drive slower. But who knows? What is this? In your opinion, should LED lights be illegal? I don't know. In your opinion, do you think LED lights should be illegal?
Illegal? No. They are a different way of lighting. They are bright. They're crisp. But it's also very crisp or very sharp on your eyes when you're looking at it from the opposite direction. Different lighting, halogen lights use a different wattage of beam. Low and high beam are not only angled differently, but the power intensity is different. If you have a high intensity discharge or an LED, it's using the same lightage with the same output, but directing the
light differently.
The light differently. I see the difference. I have one of my cars has LED lights, and I see a difference if I have people in the back seat. I see a difference on the road, and I'm sure the people
because it angles your vehicle up.
It angles the vehicle up.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
I like high intensity lighting. I want to see better. I've driven some older cars that have incandescent bulbs, and it's like there's no lights at all because I'm so used to having the bright light of LED or projector bulbs. And if they are, the big thing is if they're directed correctly and that they're not aftermarket. People buy these aftermarket bulbs. They may not be DOT compliant. They may not be legal. And that's different because a focused bulb is different than something that was made overseas and designed to fit into the same hole, but is not necessarily intended as a headlight. It doesn't meet the requirements for the road here. That could be difficult because it could be setting light in all directions, and that could create some issues. What is the best way to become a police officer? Well, the quickest answer is apply. If you don't apply, you'll never get to the next step, but you have to prepare yourself. There is a lot that goes into it. www.tps.ca/careers is the website that is our website, and we are hiring police officers and parking enforcement officers and special constables. If you have interest to know more about the program, check it out there. You can talk to a recruiter. We know some recruiters looking for more work.
We do.
We do, and he wants to come and talk to everybody in the next little while. But so there are people waiting to hear from you. So call them right now. Don't wait. What's the next question here? What is the medical reason for not wearing a seatbelt? Well, seeing as I am not a medical doctor, I could not give you a medical reason. I know that doctors do on occasion issue documents to say that this person is exempt from wearing a seatbelt for medical reasons. But what that reason is, I don't know. I imagine pregnancy could be one of them, but I would not want to. I see being within a vehicle and protected could potentially be. But anyway, I'm not a doctor.
You know what? The risk involved with not wearing your seatbelt is huge.
Yeah.
So the doctor must weigh that risk against any additional risk by actually wearing it. I have seen some proper certificates. I've seen some
handwritten notes on sticky
pretty
pad.
fraudulent fakes as well. And guess what? You end up with a ticket,
You can bring your doctor to court to explain it.
And you know what? it's a ticket and an obstruction because you're trying to pass something off to be real as an exemption, and it's not.
Akila Draconis, who has some knowledge in this area, says pelvic fractures are a good reason to have no seatbelt. I mean,
Hopefully, that pelvic fracture didn't come from a previous collision.
yeah, no kidding. Oh, dangerous stuff. What is the question we got here? We got that question. There was another one that caught my eye. What is your opinion on civilians stopping to help traffic accident? Well, if there's a traffic collision and it's a traffic collision that is taking up lanes, traffic's not going anywhere. Being a good Samaritan and coming to help is great, but there's also tremendous risk you're putting. Like you can try and stop traffic by staying in your vehicle as well, calling 911 to describe what's going on, but running to a vehicle that's on fire. There's a lot of risk there.
Are they not asking about traffic direction there?
Traffic direction is an entirely different story, but let's go down that road. You're not legally permitted to drive to direct traffic as a civilian, even though if you're doing the right thing. Leaving your vehicle in the blocking lane with the hazards is one thing. Getting out and waving traffic through is an entirely different situation.
But I do understand the emergent need for somebody to save somebody's life.
Yes.
If it's in a hidden situation or something like that, to slow traffic down, to make them aware of the impending hazard, that is a good thing. Mm-hmm. You just have to do it in a way that's lawful and safe for you as well.
Billy says, "Who's talking? I hear another voice." That's Sergeant Murray Campbell. He is a media relations officer in our office as well. He is responsible for a ton of things, like the towing impounds and construction and other stuff too.
Ministry of Transportation liaison officer, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I do. I have the corner office that when the boss comes by, he looks for somebody and goes, "Here, take care of this."
You're next. Again. Do we have a sheriff county in Ontario other than OPP? A sheriff? Okay, so OPP aren't sheriff. Sheriffs are in Ontario. They're affiliated with the courts. They go in and ask people to or change locks on commercial properties and do eviction stuff.
Yeah, so they act on court orders to do certain things, and they work within the court system in Ontario. Other provinces, they're used for different things.
Yes, in is it BC or Alberta? They have sheriffs that do traffic stops. They carry firearms. It's a totally different situation. Every province has a different role. But you look at the United States, there are counties because they have municipal, county, federal, like the state police. They have many different layers of police. It's a different system. Can you help an officer if he or she is in trouble? Well, we like it when we get help.
Absolutely.
We're in trouble. We definitely want the help. Make yourself known as you're approaching. Don't just jump in because you might catch a foot or a punch if there's a fight going on. But if we're getting the bad end of a fight, coming to help us is much appreciated.
And not only that, acting upon the direction of a police officer to assist gives you actually extra powers that a normal citizen does not. We can ask you to arrest somebody. We can ask you to detain somebody. Mm-hmm. We can ask you to assist in that for that purpose, where a normal citizen may not be able to do that, may not be lawfully able to do that.
Is it illegal to film in a public building lobby? Well, what is a public building? See, if you are in a courthouse, for instance, you cannot film. Now, people will say it's a public building, it's a courthouse, but you cannot film. And if you are if you're doing something that's prohibited, and you're told to stop and you continue, you can be arrested and trespassed under the Trespass to Property Act. So it depends. If they say no filming, you cannot film. If you have been directed, whether it be by sign or by a representative of that building to stop filming, you are to stop filming, again, because you can be charged. When you talk about out in the open and public areas that there's no reasonable prospect of privacy or expectation of privacy, then that's different. If you're in a public space, filming a building that's public, yeah, you can't be told no. That's different.
Yeah, there may be some reasons in public buildings why.
Inside, yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the public area within the police station. You know what? You can film there unless you're asked not to.
Well, that's the whole thing. If there's no sign prohibiting it, then you can film until you're told not to.
And there can be a number of reasons for somebody to ask you not to do it.
For sure. And then there's other things like, you can film someone or even random people you don't know in public, but if it's for a sexual purpose, well, then you can't. That's not lawful. If you're filming children, it's just awkward. And regardless of what the reason is, I would never want to just, anyway, filming strangers, people, it's awkward. Ask permission is better.
Yeah, and commercially too has different requirements as well.
And that's based on use as opposed to the actual filming. But yes, and though actually sometimes it's, commercial filming would be under a permit required.
Right.
So there's a whole bunch of reasons. And it's a more complicated thing. Not at all traffic, but it is an interesting discussion. Let's see here. Would you or why pull over a Honda Civic that has aftermarkets? Do you mean aftermarkets what? Aftermarkets is a very global, wide, that's an open-ended. If it's got pipes that are aftermarket and it's too noisy or it doesn't meet the requirements, we pull over any vehicle, Honda Civic.
I was about to say we don't just focus on Honda Civics.
Maybe we should.
Well, no. You know what? We're in all sorts of
We're
people kind
inclusive.
of enforcement.
We're inclusive. We will enforce the laws onto anyone who breaks them. I like that. Why show bias on one car
Yeah.
when you could include everyone?
What's wrong with a Honda Civic?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
hater. Maybe he's got one and he's been given a ticket. I don't have seatbelt on. How will police see? We have secret tools. Secret special tools for seatbelts. There's actually
You have two of them, don't you?
yeah, they're attached right here. We look at you, and if we don't see the seatbelt on, we pull you over. If we have any question, we pull you over. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that tinted windows are illegal, because if we can't see you, we will pull you over to give you the ticket because we have to be able to see you. For that reason, to be able to see if you're wearing a seatbelt. That's one of them. There's no reasonable expectation of privacy in a motor vehicle when it comes to the driver compartment. Okay, we got, what is this? I'm in security, but what's other good experience for policing? Anything is good experience. Life is good experience. Being involved with your community, volunteering is a huge thing to do. You know, if you, whether it be your religious group, your community group, the hospital, if you volunteer in any way, shape, or form, giving to the community that you want to then serve and protect, that's a good thing. But experience is experience, and there's no specific better. I was an auxiliary officer. I volunteered within the police service. That was good. But before I did that, I was what do we call it? A suicide hotline call center. I answered phone calls to people in distress.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a very interesting and satisfying volunteer opportunity. Yeah, absolutely. But all of them are. It's amazing. Even if you're just going into a retirement home to play chess with seniors who don't have anybody hanging out with them, is a nice way to contribute to the community. So whatever meaningful way that you enjoy, and enjoying it's a big thing. If you don't like it, they're going to know it, and you're going to know it, and no one's going to be happy.
And you know what? In the end, once you're hired, you're going to be expected to give back to the community. That's the whole point of our job.
Yes.
The only difference is, one, you're getting paid for it. So
Yeah.
any practice you have beforehand giving back is good practice.
But when people turn around and say the police are just here to be bullies, or the police are just here to be the tax man and take drivers' money for breaking the law, no, we're trying to help people. We're people trying to help people. We're doing the same thing we were doing before when we were volunteering. We're just able to focus on it 24/7 and have more authority to ensure that the right thing is being done. And not everybody agrees with that perspective, but that is what we do. People helping people. I love that. Many small towns have their own police in Ontario. Yes, there are police services in many places in Ontario. Many places contract out to the OPP because they're not big enough to have their own police service, because it is quite a costly endeavor. But there are municipal police forces all over the place. We have here. Ride motorcycle on highway. Do you need a test? You need a license. So yes, there are tests in getting you a license, even if it's just an M1, and an M1 doesn't actually allow you to go on the highway. But yeah, interesting.
Well, it allows you to go on a
Some
highway.
highways with speed limits under 80.
Right.
Yes, like all highways are highways. All roads are highways, but expressways. You can't be on a road with a highway with a speed over 80, except for certain exemptions in rural areas that have no other means of getting in or out. What do we have? If you have a seat, Willie, you got lots of questions, man. This is good. If you have a seatbelt on but you're laying down, well, if you have your seatbelt all the way back and you're laying down, you're likely improperly wearing that
I
seatbelt.
was about to say, you're not wearing it properly. It has to be properly affixed to you.
Yeah. I mean, now what about reclining, and you're reclining just a little too far? How much is reclining too far?
Not wearing it properly.
Yeah, it's very likely that A, you're not getting the benefits of it, and B, you're not complying with the law. We got a question that says, what training does police have with ASL or the deaf community? We have many officers who actually have gone and invested the time and energy to learn ASL. American Sign Language is ASL. But very often what we do is we will write. I don't know sign language. I will write down or type a message into my phone, and that's the way. But we take the direction from the person who is of the deaf community, and what they will often do is say that, can you read lips, or can you, and we'll determine which the easiest way to communicate is.
Now, Sean, before I became a police officer, when I was looking to get hired, it was a tough back then. Bob Ray days were around, and so I went out to make myself better. I took 2 years of courses on American Sign Language because that was important to me. I became aware of people that weren't able to communicate that properly with speaking and hearing people because of my neighbor and my neighborhood growing up, and I wanted to make myself better, and it definitely helped within this job. Especially in courts.
Do you still use it?
I have lost. I can still do my alphabet, I think. I have a few ones that are specific to policing that I can use when I'm out there. But no, you have to continue to use it to become proficient in it.
I imagine practice makes perfect, and if you don't use it, you lose it. But
Yeah.
there's so many things that I think are interesting in there. When people flip the bird, isn't that the word for CN Tower, or the symbol for CN Tower?
It might be.
I tell everybody to go to the CN Tower. I'm a tour operator. Just go to CN. No, I'm kidding. But I think that I do think that is the CN Tower thing. But it's very cool. I love the idea of. Oh, I just deleted. Somebody said, so you guys are feeling /policy enforcement, not law. I don't know what you're actually saying. I think with discussing helping people, they're maybe going off on a tangent. We do enforce laws. That is part of helping people. People who break laws put other members of the community at risk. So yeah. Question from Jake here says, can I do a citizen's arrest for traffic violation like impaired? Well, funny you should say that. Impaired driving is not a traffic violation. It's not a traffic law. It's a criminal law. Impaired driving is criminal. So it's not just, yes, there's an element of traffic, but it's under the Criminal Code of Canada as opposed to just a Highway Traffic Act offense, which you could not arrest someone for. So what would you say about arresting people for impaired driving?
I would say that it would have to be a last resort, and to prevent the continuance of an offense that would put people's lives in danger, would you be able to justify that detention? Absolutely, you would be, but you would have to be able to justify it.
I'll tell you something. I just because I don't always like wrestling people in the streets, when I've been off duty and I've come upon a impaired driver, I've called in because there's usually a collision involved and something's happened. And I've not, immediately said you're under arrest. I've talked to them, and I've waited for the police to come, and then the police come, and then they take over. But they've not yet, until they've tried to take off, there's been no requirement to take it to the next level because it was all under control. And that's something that if you were trying to help and you were concerned, relay information to police, be the best witness you can be. But taking it to that arrest point is probably going to end up in a bad situation for someone who's not capable, and really, why do you need to go there?
Right. You know what? If you're trying to help, the best help you can do is use your language skills, use your ability to communicate, and you know what? Sometimes you can convince that person not to go anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. The people think that we're like the movies, that we're running and gunning and speeding and shooting at people and tackling people. This doesn't happen. We are 99%, I would say, talking to people, and most things are resolved there. I mean, yes, we do arrest people. Yes, we do put hands on people, but it's not the first. It gets there. We don't start there. Most of the time.
Most of the time.
There's always exceptions. What happens if you lose your case in traffic court? Well, then you are sentenced. And when you are sentenced, they tell you what you owe, how to pay, and tell you what other conditions and consequences come along with it. So let's give you an example. You get a stunt driving ticket, you get a charge, and you're told to go to court, but you're also getting an immediate roadside suspension and impoundment of your vehicle. So there's that side. But now when you go to court, there's no amount to pay and make it go away. You have to now have a trial, and upon the completion of that trial, a justice of the peace is going to rule. They're going to say how much in the range of $2,000 to $10,000 you're going to pay as a fine. Well, whether or not you get up to 6 months in jail or no jail at all. They're going to determine how much of a suspension between 1 and 3 years you're going to receive. Those are all things that happen as a result of your stunt driving charge. Now, let's say it's something like, I don't know, speeding. Well, let's say stop sign, $110. You can choose to pay that $110 right away, and then it's essentially is dealt with. You've got a conviction rated on your record, points are applied to your license, and it's done for all effective purposes. Or you could choose to fight it in court. If you go to court, you have the trial, and then after it either going favorably for you where it's withdrawn or not favorably for you where you are found guilty, again, they could give you the same $110 fine. They could increase it. They could decrease it. It all depends on what the court wants to do. Would you add anything to that?
So what you're saying is it depends.
It depends. It's our favorite thing to say here. And don't run stop signs. Or don't break laws. It's so much easier. Avoid the ticket altogether. It is not a fun process to become involved in any kind of ticket situation, although I will say that it is an excellent way to change behavior.
Most times.
Well, I was just reading a post that I love the graphic that they used. It's a kid going making a face, but Vision Zero last night stopped two different Vision Zero enforcement team members on different sides of the city. Stopped the same driver for speeding within 2 hours of one another.
Wow.
You think that person has a problem?
Yep.
They should not apply to the police service. See, the driving record. If you want to become a police officer, keep a good driving record. Aside from all the other things we talked about, stay fit, stay educated, be involved with.
Have some good decision-making capabilities,
or at least don't give people examples of your bad decision-making.
Right.
Okay. Is it hard? What is this? Is it hard protecting anti-police protests? I don't know where. I mean, going to a protest? I haven't worked one, so I wouldn't know. Is it frustrating to have people who don't like the police and voice out against us when they don't really understand what we do? It's frustrating.
You know what, though? It's their right to protest.
Absolutely.
And we're there to protect their right of their free expression. So, you know what? We have a great country where we have the ability to do that, and we're here to facilitate that.
Yeah, you have rights. Exiting vehicle while being pulled over. Is it legal? Is it legal? It's not necessarily safe, and we'll ask you to stay in your vehicle for our safety and for yours. Is it specifically illegal to get out of your vehicle? No. It's just not safe. And if we've told you to stay in, then there's a direction of a police officer, and that's a different situation.
Yeah, and why are you getting out? What's the reason for getting out? What are you trying to hide? Where are you going? What are you doing? So you may find an immediate and very intense reaction from a police officer because the unknown that's coming out.
Yeah, if you get out of a vehicle, sorry, go ahead.
You're expected to do certain things when you're pulled over by a police officer, and that would be to provide identification, show your vehicle. It could be up for examination. If you jump out of your vehicle right then and there, it's something is up. There's no reason for you to do that.
Yeah, it's very suspicious, and it causes the alarm bells to go off. Our spidey senses tingle and whatnot. It's unnerving because why are you acting uncharacteristically? Most people, a normal person, will sit in the car and wait, and then they will, speak to you at the side of the road. They'll take direction, and you go along your way.
I did have an occasion once to pull somebody over, and as I was approaching the vehicle, the door opened and somebody came dashing out of the car. Immediately, I thought something is up.
Yeah.
And I made movement to tackle this person because I thought they were going to flee. But as it turns out, there was a wasp in the vehicle.
A very good friend of mine whose name might be Ashley got out of the car once. Might be Ashley.
Yeah.
Got out of the car in the middle of an intersection yelling, like freaked right out. Might have been because of a large insect that made buzzing sounds. Freaked them right out.
But you know what? That can be dangerous if you're out and you're running into traffic. So
that is dangerous. That could have resulted in charges. That could have resulted in fatality or serious injury. Yeah, that's. But it was very funny at the time. It's still funny now, actually. Okay, driving an ATV on the road with no insurance, but it has a plate. This is an ATV question. Is entirely in Sergeant Campbell's wheelhouse.
So first of all, you can't drive your ATV anywhere off your property if it does not have insurance. Anywhere.
Regardless of the plate.
Regardless of the plate. even more so, it needs to be plated, properly insured, to be on the roadway. Sorry, did I say that backwards? You cannot drive your ATV anywhere off your property without insurance. You cannot drive your ATV anywhere off your property without a plate.
So on your private property, you have to be insured?
On your private property, you do not have to be insured.
Okay.
It does not have to be.
But off your property.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and there are certain roadways that you're allowed to operate on. There's certain conditions you have to abide by on the roadway. There's different speed limits that you have to follow.
Know before you go.
So yes, absolutely. And one thing is insurance. Yes, it's a necessary evil to have, but it's there to protect you. Should something happen, you are protected by the insurance company for the liability that you have caused.
Yes, it's a protection for most people think it's just a scam. Oh, there's insurance people, they just want your money, but they are really a fantastic protection. I've been in a number of collisions over the years, not my fault, but as a result, I've been injured. And if it wasn't for insurance, I would be in big trouble. You know, you miss work. How do you pay your bills? How do you do things? The insurance is that necessary evil, as you say. It's money you got to invest, but it's the price to play. You have options. You don't want to pay for it. Take the bus. That really is and I don't mean to be crass or rude to say that. It's not about how much money. People with lots of money don't like paying insurance. It's got nothing to do with how much money you make. Many people want to do other things with their money. I know I would, but given the option,
absolutely. You know what? I have a lot of toys. I have a lot of vehicles. Each and every single one of them needs to be insured, and I am only one driver. And I can only drive one at a time, but each and every single one of them has to have insurance on it.
Yeah.
It costs me a lot of money.
But you like doing it? You like having that fun?
I do.
Cost of doing business.
Yep. You got to pay to play.
Pay to play. Vision requirements to become a police officer. So this information is available on our website, www.tps.ca/careers. But I can tell you, because I know, it is 20/40 uncorrected binocular vision. You have to have accurate color acuity, which means you can't be colorblind. And even when you get these bad boys knocked off, you still have to be able to see sufficiently enough that you could perform your duties as a police officer. Because you know what? Things happen. Glasses go. You get into a collision. You get into a fight. Glasses go flying, and you need to be able to perform. So I had to get laser surgery. This is only old age that has required these things to be worn again. But I got laser surgery so that I would meet the minimum requirements. And probably the only reason I guarantee it, the only reason I got that surgery done was to become a member of the service. If I didn't have to, I wouldn't have, because glasses are, as my doctor used to say, glasses protect your eyes. It's good. It's like wearing like goggles all the time. Are officers allowed to wear religious symbols? There is no rule that I'm aware of that says you cannot wear an article of religious significance. Like you can wear a pendant or something like that. It can't be hanging out. You can't wear it on top of your shirt. I think
Yes, can't be visible.
Can't be visible. No rope chains. Not that that's a religious thing, but I just, rope chains are the first thing that come to mind when I think about pendants. I don't wear jewelry, so I don't wear jewelry. It's just one of those things. What is this? Is it true that a light bar takes pics of cars to catch speeders? Light bar? Like on the police car? Light bar? I'm not aware of cameras that have... I'm not aware of cameras being in the light bars. We have cameras on our dashboard.
Yeah, we also have ALPRs, automated license plate readers.
Yes.
And they are up on the roof of the vehicles. And they are used to not take a picture, but to identify the digits on the plate.
Yes. Amazing stuff. Okay. Hello to my friend from the OPP who just arrived. We are going to be doing something a little different today. After this show is done, we're going to be doing a podcast, and we might just do it live on camera. We'll see. We'll at around 11:30. If you're still around and you want to jump back, maybe not on TikTok. Well, maybe we'll try on TikTok. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Either way, it's 11 o'clock. It is time to shut her down. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you. We will be back on possibly in 30 minutes, but tomorrow. It'll be TPS Traffic Jam. The episode about automated enforcement will be playing at 10 o'clock, but we will not have a regular Q&A tomorrow. And then we'll be back on Monday.
Monday
With more dad jokes.
We'll see you then.
Yes. Have a wonderful weekend. Since you will likely or may not be hearing from me, drive safe, drive sober, and even park legally, because I like to include Erin in this. So for Erin and her colleagues' sake, don't make them work. Anyway, have a great weekend. Take care. I'm going to leave you with that wonderful song that I always leave you with. Written and performed by a police officer at the station. Take care.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.